And we're back again with another one. But before we start today, we do have to take care of some housekeeping. This episode is sponsored by Epic Mortgage. Whether you're buying, investing, or refinancing, call Epic today, 708-905-5300. Your dreams, your goals, let's plan together. All right, now on with the show. Today we have Kim Kreil. Kim has been in the mortgage industry in the variety of sales and operational roles for over 20 years. She began her mortgage career as a loan officer in Arizona, working primarily in new construction lending. She transitioned over to wholesale operations and ultimately became an account executive. She is currently an account executive at TPO Go. Kim has been nationally ranked by Scotsman's Guide as a top producing account executive. She finds it rewarding introducing new programs to her broker partners and helping them obtain the best financing options for their borrowers. Prior to her career in the mortgage industry, Kim was a high school economics teacher and cross-country coach in New York. Kim believes setting personal and professional goals, along with the being disciplined, are the keys to success. Kim and her husband are outdoor enthusiasts who enjoy hiking, national parks, playing golf, and traveling. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you. Thanks so
Man,
much.
hey, thanks for coming in. Hey, I was interested, obviously, with the level of 20 years of experience. Just how have you been able to build and maintain relationships, with your clients and referral partners?
Well, I think one of the things that I always consider with my customers is what is it that they need from me? Where are their struggles? Where are their pain points? How is it that I can make their job either easier or more profitable? So it's really knowing what their business needs are, and if I have the programs and the process in order to fill the needs that they have. So for instance, my company doesn't do certain particular loans like, DSCR loans. So if that was your book of business, we're probably not going to be a great fit because you don't have the need for me and I can't fulfill what your needs are. So I think really figuring out what your customer needs and how they like to operate. So, if we kind of go back, we've worked together for the past, I think, 10 plus years, and we kind of, in talking over the years, figured out how do we work best together. Like, you want me to reach out to you at least once a month. Like, we don't have to talk daily, we don't have to talk weekly, but we need to at least communicate with each other once a month. And just figuring out what the customer wants that suits their needs. I mean, even over time, the things have changed. Like, people would call you and leave you a voice message. Well, now people don't leave you voice messages. They call, they hang up, and then I need to know that that particular person just expects that I'm going to call them back. So kind of just figuring out what makes your customers tick and what their business needs are and how I'm able to make their life easier, make their job easier, and make it more profitable for them. I think that's how I've continued to develop and maintain the relationships that I've had over the last 20 years.
One thing I would always credit you with is you've always kind of been a trendsetter in the regard of, you've been willing to have brokers nationally. It hasn't been just, hey, I'm in Arizona and I'm just going to service Arizona clients. You've had Chicago,
Mhm.
New York and some of the various states. And you've been willing to travel.
Right.
And that's been a difference, and that's something that I think people can appreciate within the mortgage industry. That wow, she's come all this way over here. She flew a plane, and she came to see me. So I think that's always been something that I've always kind of seen you do, and I see others trying to copy that as well. Um,
Right.
was that instinctive? Was that just something natural for you to like, hey, you thought bigger than what maybe the market dictated?
Well, I think when I started in the sales position in the wholesale channel, I was an inside salesperson. So I did have accounts throughout the country, and the position really wasn't for me to travel to different accounts. I was sitting at a desk taking phone calls and helping customers that way. But really, you do need to meet people face to face. Some people will probably never want to meet me. That's just how, again, knowing your customer, knowing what they want. But I did feel that there were certain accounts that wanted that face to face.
Mhm.
So I did start traveling to different customers to visit them. And I still, as you know, I'm here in Arizona, but I do have accounts on the East Coast, all, from New York all the way through to California. So If it warrants a trip, if they want to visit, then I'm certainly happy to do that. I think it does bring it to that next level. But, post pandemic, a lot of people aren't even going into an office anymore. So that's even, sort of changed the nature of our industry. So some people, I could meet them for coffee if they wanted to, because they don't even have an office where where their staff goes every day.
Exactly. And obviously, piggybacking that with Epic Mortgage. I mean, really, with the pandemic, that opened up the door for us to become a regional mortgage broker, being able to service, even Texas and Georgia and Florida. We've expanded our, just our process and understanding that, in the mortgage space, mortgage is money and money travels.
Right.
And so, and to service clients, our clients, which are our realtors, we wanted to be able to help them and say, hey, we can help you whether you're in Virginia or if you're in Texas, it's still the same thing. And definitely you have products to service all these people.
Right. For sure. For
So,
sure.
so then as far as the sales quota and, just having, obviously being with a company, I imagine there's quotas, there's sales agendas, and you have your own personal goals. How do you go about constructing those? How do you go about executing the plan to, exceed those goals?
I first look at, what does my company have to offer? So in deciding where I wanted to work or who I wanted to work with, I had to look at, programs that sort of met my needs, which really had to meet my customers' needs. So where does my company excel? What are we doing well? So I need to know that piece of it and know how that fits in with my customers' plan. So for instance, if our first time home buyer government program is, really well priced, I really need to be working with customers who do that kind of business. So knowing what my customers do and knowing what my own company does helps me to set my goals. But more importantly, I share my goals with my team. So because I can't do it all by myself. So at the beginning of every month, I look at my production numbers from the month before and share it with my team. But then I look at the month coming up, look at what my goals are going to be, and then share that with my team. So everybody's invested in this goal that we're trying to reach. So, my company has me, they want me to reach so much. I come up with those goals and how to meet them. But I think the important thing is making everybody feel like they're a part of achieving that success.
Oh, that's great. And it sounded like you're doing it on a month-to-month basis.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. But we evaluate it. I evaluate my pipeline every day. So some of, what you said in my bio is the discipline part. My days, my work days are very routine in terms of, when I wake up in the morning and I exercise and then I look at my pipeline and I go through my pipeline and see, what loans have to be done, how much have we funded, how many loans have come in. So I follow that discipline every single day. I don't share everything with my team every day because it would probably be overwhelming, but I'm sort of the person behind the curtain making sure that it's all kind of moving through as it should. So I certainly do update them so that, a few times a month, letting them know where we are in terms of achieving our goals. And when we have successes, like we have a great lock day, I'll send that out to my team, like awesome job team, look at how many locks we pulled in. Any great emails from customers I share with my team because, like any job, some days can be challenging and you really want to bring people up and make them feel good about what we're doing, which is putting people in a home.
I so much love talking to you because I do the same thing, and I can't tell everyone that I do that because I was looking at my pipeline even on a Sunday, and
Yeah,
I'm like, oh man, and I want to send this email out, but I didn't want to scare my team that knows like, man, this guy's got no life.
I
He's
know we don't.
crazy.
We do. It just really depends on how, like as you know, I'm an early riser. So
Sure.
I'm the person at 4 a.m. that's looking at my pipeline and sending it out to the team. But, by 8 p.m., you're not going to hear from me.
Right.
So
Right.
because I think we're passionate, we can sometimes, at least because I'm sort of one step removed from the customer, you're my customer, the real end customer is the home buyer. And I think it's easier for us to forget that there's a family that's trying to buy a home. So I want to make sure that we know that and that we're as vested in getting that, meeting that closing date and making it as easy as possible for the customer to get in. So that falls upon me to make sure that I'm managing, the day-to-day movement of the files through the system.
Yeah, I've always said in the wholesale space, from a lender perspective, your job is to make me look good.
Yeah,
Obviously I'm trying to impress the consumer, I'm trying to impress the realtor. If you can make me look good, and got my back, that's going to make me feel confident to want to continue to work with you, confident to want to, begin to, tell everyone about these amazing products. And so, it's all about us working together as a team.
for
So I can
sure.
respect that. Now, obviously, moving forward in the mortgage industry, we have a lot of stuff going on all the time. The market is continually changing in real estate that affects us. So, what are some of the challenges that you're seeing moving forward that we may be facing?
I think one of the, as having like you've been in this industry for, been in this for over 20 years, nobody goes to school to get into mortgages. I mean, I started my career as a high school teacher, and even as an economics teacher, you're not teaching people about mortgages. You're not going to college or taking additional classes to get into the business. And I know we really felt it, at least on like the appraisal front of getting some newer people into the industry. So I think that's one challenge that I don't think we've done enough to attract people into our business. There's not a big mentor program that any company offers to bring people on to teach them. And it really is an industry where, I mean, I guess if you took some classes, you'll get exposure to maybe the regulations and some of the programs, but so much of this is on the job training. And I think that's one challenge that we're going to face is, I don't know what the average age is of an account executive or a loan officer. I think, the average age of appraisers is getting a little bit old, towards the older end of the spectrum. So I think that's probably, one of our challenges. And I think, staying relevant in terms of there's so many, I don't want to call them big box lenders, but the more boutique lenders, we have to be able to stand out in some way from our bigger competitors that are out there that are, I want to say more like an assembly line, but it's a different structure that they use to move through loans. So I think for the smaller companies, it's a bit more challenging to scale. The increases in business and the decreases in business. I think it's a lot harder for us to sort of keep up when the market does turn, and then to back off when the market goes in the other direction.
Sure. And do you see cost as an issue too? I mean, just the cost of doing business has increased, and obviously the one that's impacted the most is the consumer, right?
For sure. Well, even though the cost of appraisal or credit reports has gone up significantly, we have to always be careful, every time that you hire somebody that, that person comes with, salary and benefits, and you need to be sure that you have, enough business to keep those people hired. You certainly don't want to hire too many and then have to do a layoff, but you always need enough available there. So yeah, the cost of margins right now are so thin. I mean, I know the competition is stiff out there. When it's stiff for you, then it's stiff for us. So everybody trying to get as lean and competitive as they possibly can with pricing, and with fees is certainly important.
Yeah, that's always been tough for me. I've never been a fan of, but I get it, right? In our business, when the water turns on and it's flush and we're super busy, we want to hire, 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 and then
Right,
all of a sudden when it gets a little tight, we fire, 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 and that kind of accordion level business that we're in of hey, here today but gone tomorrow. I've always not liked that. I always wanted to stay lean and efficient and just say, hey, this is our crew, because I just don't like letting people go. And I think
right.
it kills morale, even for
Certainly.
a period of time.
Well,
And
it's
then,
an instability, right? I mean, people get in the industry and it's, I know loan officers that I've worked with for years that over the last 2 years have had to find something else to do because there's
sure,
just, the business just wasn't there. And, underwriters that have moved into other positions where, 2020 and 2021, we couldn't hire people. There weren't enough people to fulfill the business. So it really it's sort of feast or famine. We're either so incredibly busy or it's so incredibly slow and challenging. And that's really hard to staff to. I mean, there's offshoring that you can do, but that's so difficult because it's hard to even find people that understand the mortgage business to the extent that we have to in order to do it. But to offshore that, it's not, this isn't an assembly line kind of job. So it's a little bit more challenging to use that as a way to, turn the faucet on and turn the faucet, back off. So it's definitely a challenge.
And then how have you handled the remote as far as, I mean, that really hasn't been a big ordeal. But just from, I mean, there's a responsibility level that you have to have a trust within your team that, obviously they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. Everyone's remote. No one's really going into an office per se.
Right.
Um, Epic Mortgage, I mean, all of us are remote. I'm the only one in the office, each and every day. So it's, I just, wanted you to talk about that a little bit with your team.
Well, I trust my team, implicitly. The people that I work with are people that I've worked with for a number of years. So I can be hard to please because I know that you are hard. It's not that you're hard to please, but I want to please you, and you have a customer to please and a realtor to please. And so I really pick my team very carefully. And there's, people are looking for jobs now, and if people want a recommendation from me, I can't refer anybody that I have never worked with before.
Sure.
Like I've been, burned in the past by, oh, this is a great, account manager, but if I haven't worked with them, I can't recommend them. I mean, I really look at people that have that same kind of work ethic, and drive that I do, which sometimes is maybe harder to find, but it's all about customer service. I mean, when you're in sales, you're really, it's customer service. That's what it boils down to. You can choose to go to probably 50 other lenders. I have to do something that's going to set me apart from the rest of them. So anyone that's working on my team has to be able to respond, quickly and correctly and pleasantly. So, it's not this, there's no secret, secret sauce. Like I have to answer questions, I have to be correct, and I have to be friendly. That's kind of what it takes. It's pretty simple, but yet sometimes it's hard for people to do those three things.
No doubt, no doubt. And as we finish this off, what advice would you give to a beginner, as far as a new LO or a new AE? How do they get really started in this business? What would you recommend?
I would say if they can find someone to mentor them, that's how I actually started in the business. As you mentioned, I was a high school teacher, and when I started in 2001, you didn't need a license. There weren't any, college courses in Mortgage 101. I started actually working with my brother, and he taught me the business. And this, of course, is when everybody was going in the office, and I literally sat in his office every day and listened and asked questions and listened and asked questions. And, it takes so much time to accumulate all of this knowledge and understanding. So I think, having a mentor, I know you mentor the loan officers that, that work with you. That's key because there's just not a lot of, true classes or just any way for them to learn the industry. And I think the other thing is just, you always have to be open to change, and change is hard. I get it. I'm so impressed with some of the changes that you've made in your business since you started. I mean, again, we've known each other for 10 years, and you're doing podcasts now, you're an author now. So you've been willing to try different things. I mean, it's not just going in an office now and let me hand you a flyer. There's so many different ways, and some of those things might not be comfortable, like getting in front of a camera and doing, what we're doing now. It may not be comfortable for people, but in the end, try it. I mean, why not? What is it going to hurt? If you don't succeed, then try something else. So, and talk to people. I mean, I have a list of sales tips that I always share with my team, like, pick up your phone or put people in your phone. And when they answer, say, "Hi, Dante, how are you today?" People are so surprised when I just answer my phone and use their name. Sometimes like I said, it's not hard, there's some really simple techniques that you can employ. So I think getting a good mentor and really being flexible to what's available, in the marketplace for you to get in front of customers.
That is awesome. And that is great information. I appreciate you coming on, and I hope you have an epic day.
Thanks, Dante. It was so much fun. Appreciate it.
Take care.
You too.